On January 10, 2026, the United States government quietly crossed a line that changes everything. For the first time in American history, the national debt officially surpassed $37 trillion. And here's what nobody's telling you. The interest payments alone on that debt now exceed what we spend on national defense. We are paying more money just to service our debt than we spend on the entire military. And that number is accelerating. This isn't some distant problem. This directly impacts the value of your paycheck, the cost of everything you buy, and whether you'll be able to retire. Most people won't connect the dots until it's too late, until they're wondering why groceries cost double what they used to, why their rent keeps climbing, why saving feels impossible. That's why you need to understand what's happening right now and how to position yourself before the consequences become unavoidable. Here's how we got here. The United States government operates on a simple but dangerous principle. Spend now, worry later. Every year, the government spends more money than it collects in taxes. That gap, that difference, is called the deficit. And to cover it, the government borrows money by issuing treasury bonds. Those bonds are essentially IOUs. The government promises to pay you back with interest. Investors, foreign countries, and even the Federal Reserve buy these bonds, which gives the government cash to spend immediately. But here's the problem. That borrowed money has to be paid back, and it comes with interest. Right now, interest rates are higher than they've been in decades. That means the cost of borrowing is expensive. In 2025 alone, the U.S. government paid over $1 trillion just in interest on the debt, not paying down the debt itself, just the interest. That's more than we spent on Medicare, more than we spent on veterans' benefits, more than education, infrastructure, and science combined. And it's growing. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what does this have to do with me? Everything. Because when the government can't afford its debt payments, it has three options. Option 1, raise taxes. Option 2, cut spending. Option 3, print more money. Historically, option 3 is what happens. It's the easiest, it's the quietest, and it's the one that hurts regular people the most. When the Federal Reserve prints money to help the government pay its bills, that new money floods into the system, but it doesn't create value. It just dilutes the value of every dollar already in existence. More dollars chasing the same goods means prices go up. Your salary might stay the same or grow slightly, but your purchasing power drops. This is the hidden tax, inflation. And we're already seeing it play out. In 2020, a gallon of milk cost around $3. Today, that same gallon costs over $4 in most places. A dozen eggs that used to be $2 now cost closer to $5 or $6, depending on where you live. Housing, energy, food, healthcare, everything is more expensive, and wages haven't kept up. The average worker today has less buying power than they did 5 years ago, even if their paycheck shows a bigger number. That's not an accident. That's the result of debt-fueled money printing. Here's where it gets even more dangerous. There are two types of people in this economy: those who understand what's happening and position accordingly, and those who don't. The people who don't understand keep their money in savings accounts earning 1% while inflation runs at 3%. They work for raises that barely match price increases. They feel like they're running on a treadmill, working harder, but never getting ahead. And they are, because the system isn't designed for them to win. The system is designed to benefit asset owners. People who own stocks, real estate, businesses, and commodities. When the government prints money, where does it go? It doesn't go to your bank account. It flows into the financial system. It pushes up stock prices. It inflates real estate values. It rewards people who own things. If you own Apple stock and the Fed prints money, Apple's stock price goes up. If you own a rental property and the Fed prints money, property values go up. But if you just work a job and save cash, you lose. Slowly, quietly, consistently. This is the wealth gap everyone talks about, but few people actually understand. It's not just about rich versus poor, it's about owners versus workers. And the divide is accelerating because of automation and AI. Companies are learning they can grow revenue without growing headcount. They can increase productivity without increasing payroll. AI agents, machine learning, and automation are replacing jobs faster than new ones are being created. That means corporate profits can soar while wages stagnate. And when the Fed prints money to stimulate the economy, those profits get even bigger. The investors win, the workers don't. So what's the play? The answer is simple but uncomfortable. You have to become an investor. You cannot afford to only be a worker and a consumer anymore. You need to own assets. Start with the basics. If you're new, invest in broad market index funds. Something like the S&P 500 gives you exposure to the largest companies in America. These are the businesses that benefit when money flows into the system. Set up automatic investments. Every paycheck, a portion goes into the market. You do it when stocks are up. You do it when stocks are down. You remove emotion and you stay consistent. Over time, this strategy works. But for many people, it's not enough. A 10% annual return is solid, but if you're starting late or starting small, you need better returns to reach financial freedom. That's where understanding capital flows, timing, and strategy comes in. When you know where money is moving and why, you can position ahead of the crowd. You can buy assets before they run. You can avoid sectors that are about to get crushed. That edge, that knowledge, is what separates good investors from great ones. Gold is another asset to watch. Historically, gold rises when people lose faith in paper currency. And right now, central banks around the world are buying gold at record levels. Why? Because they see what's coming. More debt, more money printing, more inflation. Gold doesn't pay dividends, it doesn't grow earnings, but it holds value when currencies don't. And in an environment where governments are printing trillions, that matters. Real estate is another option, but it requires more capital and comes with different risks. The point is this: cash is not safe. Sitting on the sidelines is not safe. Doing nothing is a decision, and it's the wrong one. The national debt isn't going down. Interest payments aren't shrinking. The Federal Reserve isn't going to stop printing money. If anything, they'll print more, which means inflation isn't going away. Prices will keep rising, and the gap between those who own assets and those who don't will keep widening. This is not financial advice. This is reality. The system rewards investors, and if you're not positioning yourself to benefit, you're positioning yourself to lose. The opportunity is now, not next year, not when things feel safer. Now. Because by the time most people realize what's happening, the biggest gains will already be gone. And if this video gave you value, subscribe. The next few years are going to be wild. Make sure you're ready.